It's Halloween, and McFarlane decides to decorate his demon. Here's your look at the McFarlane toys. This is Spawn Reborn, and this is Clown 4. Spawn Reborn is a limited edition redeco of 6 of the most interesting and visually appealing Spawn action figures from the last several years. Clown 4 was originally released in Spawn Series 20, which of course he did not have this jack-o'-lantern deco. I hope you guys are ready for spooky spots for 2019. I know I'm ready. I've been waiting all year for these. And of course, throughout the month of Spottober, we're going to be having a look at some other things as well. But sprinkled in there devilishly, of course, we're going to be having a look at some spooky related things as well. Now, this one we have had a look at before, but I thought it was worth going back to and revisiting again. The creepy clown stands 5.4 inches in height. Mark that on your calendar. I don't know why you would want to mark that on your calendar. Switching that over to centimeters, however, you're looking at the figure standing 13.7, a little over 13.5 centimeters in height. Now, considering this is a redeco of a figure that he's already released, McFarlane Toys, I guess, decided to remove all the other accessories that came included with the original clown. Instead, what we only get is just the knife. Splattered, yes, with blood. Not sure whose blood it is specifically, but it does only come with the knife. It so happens also to be the exact same knife that came with the other one. We'll do some comparisons in a second. For its age, and that's one thing that marvels me, at least when it comes to McFarlane releases, is the fact that some of these pieces don't really feel all that dated. This one does have a little bit more scaled down additional detailing, but I think that the figures themselves are still just as good as they were when I initially picked these up. Case in point is the actual blade handle. You gotta admit though, that's pretty good for a figure this age. You can see that the etching there of a wood carved handle, very predominantly featured here on the handle. It's really nicely done, like I said, and the blood, it's still realistic enough. We've kind of went over that awkward hump where blood just didn't look all that great on accessories. This one actually does look pretty good. Now you can put it into his hand. It does involve taking the little knob piece off. You see there's a little connector point. Make sure you don't lose that, whatever you do. And you can put this into his hand. You can either put it up or you can put it down, depending on what you want to decide to go with. I'll show you the other clown here in a second. And then we're going to take the little knobby end piece, and that's going to line up. Now, it only goes one way, so when you are putting this back in place, you want to make sure that you are putting it back the way you left it, because if not, it's not going to line up, and you're not going to be able to tab that back into the handle. There we go. And you see the knife in his hand. Probably going to ultimately display him with this. I really usually only bring out this guy for Halloween. You probably also see the fact that at the beginning of this review we did a packaging turnaround, if you will, and that's actually because, just between you and me, I ended up giving this one away years ago and regretted it since, especially for Halloween. Like I said, this would be one that would come out every single year, and again, I can't fathom sometimes why I parted ways with some of these things. Seller's remorse seems to happen more and more frequently as I get older and older. But there is the jack-o'-lantern repainted clown. No, don't worry, the review's not over yet. We're going to do some comparisons. We're just going to move this guy over just slightly for a second. And we'll bring in the original clown in which this figure was based from. Now, you can see that I've changed the direction of the blade. I've actually got the blade on the original clown angled down, kind of as if he's cutting open the also included rat that came with this figure. Like I said, this one doesn't get it, kind of gets really removed of all the accessories except for that one blade. This clown also came included with a manhole cover. You remember that? I do. Also came included with a bottle of booze. Not really sure what booze that would be. It's a liquor of some sort, and it also came with this little pool that could form at the very bottom. It was always like an awkward thing to kind of line up. Still to this day, I always struggle, it seems, to kind of put everything together. But basically what you do is you just take the bottle and you line it up onto the edge like that, and it looks like it's spilt the liquid out. Pretty cool. I like that. And unfortunately, like I said, this one does not come with that. We can also look at the rat as well. That was something else that came with the original clown. Doing a lot of comparisons, more than happy to oblige. And even though, like I said, this one didn't come with this clown, I'll just show you guys what it looked like quickly. I may or may not consider going back and revisiting some of these older figures because, gosh darn it, I still am quite adoring these original McFarlane figures, that I really feel like going back and re-reviewing them is really in order. So there's the rat. Like I said, it didn't come with that particular figure. And we'll hold up the two clowns so you can see them side by side. Yeah, really, there's not a whole lot different. The mold is exactly the same. There's nothing that's been changed there. It's really more the coat of paint than anything else. Things of notice, of course, are the faces. That's one big thing that's changed. The more traditional looking clown, done in the outlined in black blue face, always kind of looked like a really chubby bunny to me. Yes, you'll probably see now a chubby bunny for the rest of the day. The other one, though, does sport the new jack-o'-lantern face. The teeth are a little bit more gringier and grungier, if that's even possible. They're much more slimier and decayed than the original clown actually had. But I do like, again, like the contrast. This is a guy I would likely have out all year round. This is a guy that would only come out during Halloween. He's also got the boo written across his chest with an exclamation mark. And one small little detail is the fact that the smiley face pin on the original clown is actually now a upside down, turn that frown upside down, little tongue sticking out, red pin instead of the yellow. Also as well, if you spin the figures around, this is kind of one thing I like that the other clown, this one, has that this one does not, is it does actually have the trademark Spawn logo featured on the back. It's aged and it has a fair bit of dirt and dust on it, but still it's a Spawn logo to say the least. And like I said, other than that, there's really not that much that's different other than like those few little additional paints. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time talking from one figure to the other. The other thing as well is astute viewers, you are the astutest of viewers, will also notice as well that his belly top, I'll tell you too, that's a 5XL, just to kind of put things in perspective. Also does have the stripes alternating from black to green, kind of like a nice little nod to some of the Tim Burton-esque kind of designs. It's funny, every time that you look at something that's striped, you automatically think Tim Burton. At least I know I do. Boots also have some additional flame work that's been painted onto the toe sections. But other than that, like I said, the boots are the same. Molds are the same. It's just simply just a repaint from this guy to this guy right here. I'm waiting for you to take a mental snapshot. Everybody taking it? Snap, 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 snap. Okay, we'll move this guy out of the way. If you guys would like to see a full review of that clown again, certainly, most definitely let me know. As I said, you would have to be twisting my rubber arm to have a look at these Spawn figures again. I think what I'll do, though, is I'm going to take the blade out. Not that I'm not a fan of having a blade inside the clown's hand, but I think I'm just, for the risk of potentially breaking this, I'm just going to take this off right now. And the hardest part, again, you can see how it's not a full circle shape. I always wonder why companies just don't put a full circle in there. But you just have that into place. Like I said, don't lose that whenever you do. I will just put that to the side. Even though we have covered off some detail swap outs from this guy to the other guy, I guess some other things that we failed to mention when we looked at the comparisons is the fact that he does have the arrow tattooed on his arm. I don't know if he's actually tattooed that or simply just taken a Sharpie marker and drawn that on. Like similarly, he's drawn boo written across his tummy, tummy, tum. He's got love on one hand, hate on the other. I like that as a little extra touch. And speaking of also little extra touches, something else I didn't mention was the fact that this one does have the veins running across his stomach. That kind of just adds the creepy, gross factor from what seemed at one point to be about a level 8, all the way to about a 14 out of a possible 10. I know, how is that even possible? For his face, like I said, it's just a change out now of a jack-o'-lantern face. He's now got orange pupilled eyes instead of the eyes that he had before, which I think were yellow. Let's just bring the clown in once again. Yeah, they were kind of more a yellow than anything else. The shape is actually also different as well. Gone is the chubby bunny. I think there's actually a game where you put marshmallows in your mouth and you're supposed to say chubby bunny. I guess it really just chalks more up to the fact that you're going to have chubby cheeks like a bunny, and not for the fact that bunnies enjoy marshmallows. I don't know if I would actually feed a rabbit a marshmallow myself. But I do like the face sculpt, and I like the face paint. It's, again, really nicely different enough that you can put the two figures side by side, and it's not just simply a case where one face is a little bit darker. I mean, there's a whole lot of extra different things happening here, and all the more reasoning why you would want to put it out for Halloween. Let's look at this guy's articulation. His head rotates all the way around. This is sort of one of these things that McFarlane was known for. When they had articulation, everything really sat on more swivels. So when it comes to the head rotation, you're not likely going to be rotating the head all the way around. That would just seem a little odd. I didn't want to point it out, but I guess you could rotate the head side to side. You're probably not going to be rotating all the way around. The shoulders rotate back and forth. Noting as well, just in case you guys, even though you are astute viewers, noting as well the fact that the jacket is made of a soft, rubbery plastic. So when you are rotating the arms, you can kind of see how the jacket starts bending, kind of moving its way over top of the plastic sleeve. I like that. Also, you noticed a little couple of extra spikes located on the top of his shoulder. Again, you guys can see all that because you're very astute viewers. The arms don't seem to rotate. This one arm is very, very tight, although this arm does rotate here. I'm not necessarily dismissing the fact that it doesn't have arm articulation, but I've learned in previous instances, don't force the arm. I feel like there is our arm swivel right there, but again, I can't rotate it. It's just really, really tight, and last thing I certainly would want to do is break a figure this age. The hands rotate all the way around. This arm, I know you would think, would be the same on this side. No, you must be new to collecting Marvel McFarlane toys, not Marvel toys, McFarlane toys. Sometimes their articulation does vary from one side to the other side. Sometimes you may actually have a staction arm over here, meaning that the arm really doesn't do anything, whereas on this side, sometimes the arm will be able to do a full rotation. But here in the case of Clown, even though his arm is bent and you can't bend it back straight, the arm does rotate back and forth. You can rotate the arm, as you can see right there, just again really, really stiff, leading me to believe, yes, you can do that over there as well, and you can rotate his hands. Get a good gander at the dirty fingernails. That is a disgusting looking hand. Good chunky little sausages attached to these gross looking limbs. In fact, all of the Clown is really just disgusting and gross. He does have waist swivel, very, very loose, I might also say. And he also has foot articulation as well. That's as much as you're going to get out of the Clown. You would also not be able to get any hole pegs, holes underneath the feet for the pegs, because this figure doesn't have any foot peg holes under the underside. I mean, the figure still stands fine, even fact that this Clown here also stood fine. Adding things like the knife sometimes does make him a little bit top heavy. Sometimes you do have to kind of rotate the feet. If you do find them running straight, but then the Clown's tipping over, you may want to bring those feet out more on an angle than anything else. When you look at them side by side, yeah, there is enough differences between one to the other that certainly would justify picking this one up. Again, I probably would not display him all year round. Well, I wouldn't do that anyways because I was a fool and gave him away years ago. Have reclaimed him as part of my collection. And most definitely, every single Halloween, I think this guy is going to be making a visit. Not necessarily to my door collecting candy, but he's certainly going to be making a visit to my shelf space where I put a lot of my Halloween decorations out. It seems almost a tradition here on this channel that every October I end up having a look at a McFarlane line. Every single year, I think I've covered off at least one or two lines. Just between you and me, and don't tell anybody else. Don't tell anybody else. I've got a couple of McFarlane lines lined up for this month of Spottober as well. You guys may be able to guess which ones those are by simply process of elimination of all the other lines that I've looked at up to this point. So it kind of goes hand in hand. every single October that I have a look at something McFarlane related. To be fair, I looked at this guy years ago as well, but through silly decision-making process on my part, I ended up parting ways with him. After all, I thought to myself, well, I'm only going to really bring him out every Halloween, so what's the reasoning for wanting to keep him? And then I picked this guy up again for a very reasonable price, and then I realized quickly why I wanted to put this one out in the first place. I always really was a big fan of this particular clown, Clown 4 that is. It's one of my all-time favorite sculpts and one of my all-time favorite figures, along with Violator, of the McFarlane toy lines. This is a figure that even the original would be never one that I would part ways with again. And again, I just can't figure out why I would have even got rid of this one when it's just as good of a sculpt, just with a Halloween theme. And you know I'm all about Halloween. The good thing about this one is it's not really expensive. A lot of the prices for McFarlane toy figures have dropped over the years because people just picked up a whole lot of them. Everybody was collecting McFarlane toy figures. And then, of course, as McFarlane kind of swayed and changed his direction for what he wanted to produce for figures, the prices really started to drop on a lot of these. The Clown, for example, here from the Spawn Reborn line, you could probably pick up for about $15 to $20. I don't know if I would necessarily spend any bit more than that, because again, my intent is, while keeping it this go around, he really only is going to make an appearance every Halloween. If you manage to pick up this one for yourself, let me know down below in the comment section what you think of Clown 4 in this really cool jack-o'-lantern repaint scheme. And yes, I have looked at this guy before, but it was fitting for October to go back and revisit this guy again. Certainly, as I had to re-add this guy to my collection, I felt it was necessary as well to re-add him to the various reviews that we had a look at during October. Fitting it as well that we're having a look at this guy as the very first video for the Spooky Spots 2019. Because like I said, every single year we're generally looking at one McFarlane line or a figure, and McFarlane's really good also when it comes to holiday-themed figures. After all, they did ones for Christmases. They did a Spawn, both for Halloween and for Christmas time. Maybe I'll even go back and have a look at that guy again, either for Halloween or the Christmas Spawn. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Swing next door to that dark castle. Remember that really moody castle that's kind of dark and deep in the wooded areas? It always seems to have lightning around that, and nowhere else seems to have it. Swing on over there. Why not? Just hang out with Dracula for a bit. Turn on that bell notification, because certainly over the month of October, we're going to be having a whole bunch of spooky spots coming your way. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. There are also going to be some other videos coming your way as well. So if this isn't your thing, and I don't blame you, it's okay. It doesn't all have to be everybody's thing. But if you're also just in the vein for wanting to watch other video content, don't worry, there's going to be other stuff coming your way as well. But you know, I always kind of pull out all the bells and whistles when it comes to Halloween time. And I can tell you, just between you and me, don't say anybody, don't say anybody. Just between you and me, though, there's going to be a whole bunch of spooky spots coming your way in 2019, so stay tuned for those. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.